YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here with another video, and in today's video we're here with another edition of Camp Battles. And in today's video we're going to be talking about what wide receivers will make this roster in 2020, roster on this football team. So without further ado, let's get straight into another edition of Camp Battles. And if you want these to continue, make sure you guys leave what position group I should talk about next, and I'll definitely get to it. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. But before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload a video about the NFL, or in this case our Washington football team. And let's get straight into today's video. Hey you, you, the one that's about to watch this video. You didn't hear about it? I just launched my new Instagram, Juan Gotti Sports Network. Go ahead, go over there and give me a follow. It's free, and we cover anything DC sports related or anything sports related from all major sports, whether that's MLB, NHL, NBA, or NFL. I promise you won't regret it. We cover everything, whether you're a Knicks fan and you're a Giants fan, whether you're a Redskins fan. Although we are DC sports here as fans, we do cover every other sports league and every other sports team. So go ahead and give me a follow. I promise you won't regret it. Link in the description. So if you're not familiar with Camp Battles, we here talk about what players will make the roster, in my opinion, and what players will get cut for certain positions. Now, wide receiver, and more importantly today, I don't think anybody can get cut at this point. I'm being honest, because who knew that one injury, and I'm speaking more specifically to Kelvin Harmon, who knew that one injury could change the whole trajectory of your whole lineup, your starting rotation? So we know we have Cody Latimer, who's on the commissioner's exempt list for his little situation, and then Kelvin Harmon. Cody Latimer, he didn't really affect us in a way, but Kelvin Harmon hit us hard because we expected him to have a better 2020 season. He was building off of a high rookie season where he came along at the end of the season. Just like how Dwayne Haskins did, they both came along at the end of the season together, and we was hoping for a dominant 2020. And now that he's hurt and out for the whole entire 2020 season, it just makes it seem like, you know how any other position group, it's easy for me to say who's going to get cut, in my opinion. But in this video today, I can't cut anybody, because we literally need every receiver we could possibly have. That's how bad and banged up we are at the wide receiver depth. So without further ado, let's get straight to today's video, and we're gonna kick it off with talking about our receivers and Terry McLaurin, Steven Sims, and Antonio Gandy Golden. Those are the three wide receivers that we are expecting to be the starters. At first, it was going to be Kelvin Harmon, Steven Sims, and Terry McLaurin, but we all know, like we said, he got hurt. So before we even get any further into the rotation of the starting guys, let's talk about all the receivers that's on the list. So we know we have Terry McLaurin, we know we have Antonio Gandy Golden, we have Steven Sims, we have Trey Quinn, we have Isaiah Wright, Darvin Kizzy, and Cam Sims. I know people can say Cody Latimer too, but I know that since he's on the commissioner's exempt list, he's not going to count towards a roster spot. I really believe since Kelvin Harmon went down, it's kind of a blessing in disguise for some of the guys that weren't going to make the roster, in my opinion. Now, I believe that Darvin Kizzy really should be given his shot. He's always performed well in the preseason, just like Robert Davis. You guys know when we had Robert Davis last year, he performed well in the preseason, and we thought he was going to be he had a legitimate chance to be a starter. I know you guys remember that video that I made last year where I was like, could Robert Davis actually start? Because he was really lighting up preseason this past year. So hopefully Darvin Kizzy really could get his shot this year. Hopefully he performed well in camp, because he really has been on this roster for quite some time and never really was given his shot. He was only given his shot, I would say, preseason and in games where we were blowing people out, which was rare, or when we were getting blown out, which is often. So with that being said, I really believe that Kelvin Harmon replacement is going to be Antonio Gandy Golden, but Antonio Gandy Golden's backups, or should I say people that's going to make the roster, should strongly be Darvin Kizzy and Cam Sims. I know a lot of people are going to say Cam Sims or Darvin Kizzy. I want to go more towards Darvin Kizzy, but I know a lot of people are going to say Cam Sims only because he's 6'5", and he really has he has a lot of potential. Although he kind of, slummed out last year in the preseason, he do have a lot of potential. And that's what we have here a lot with our roster. A lot of young guys and a lot of potential. But I feel as though Darvin Kizzy should really get his shot, because he's the only one I could really say that hasn't been able to get their shot in the regular season. We know we have Trey Quinn, who a lot of people thought wasn't even going to make the roster this year, considering the fact how we were building off of last year, and he was rarely the starter. Steven Sims took over that role mightily last year, so we thought that we were going to build off of that, but now Kelvin Harmon went down. Trey Quinn could possibly play some outside this year. We need a lot of wide receivers. We need all the wide receivers we can get. So Trey Quinn, his probability of making a roster went from on the ground to probably all the way to the ceiling, honestly. So with that being said, I really believe that Trey Quinn could possibly make this roster, but I also would not be surprised if he don't make the roster because of how good Steven Sims was last year, and we also have Isaiah Wright, which a lot of people are forgetting about. We also have Jacoby Jones, or Jacoby Johnson, sorry about that, the guy that we got, the undrafted wide receiver, who is really small in a way. He can also play slot, but like people like him, their probability really went up considering the fact of how bad the injury bug and how much we are lacking at wide receiver depth. So people like him and Isaiah Wright, probability of making the roster really went up. We always thought that Isaiah Wright was going to have a spot on this team because of how good he was at special teams, but now he has a chance of making the roster at the wide receiver position. I really think that Isaiah Wright could really make the roster at the wide receiver position and possibly get some playing time. You know, we have Antonio Gibson that a lot of people are forgetting that is a wide receiver. They want to mark him down as a halfback, but like we say, he's a Swift Army knife. So we really have a lot of wide receivers here, but we also need every receiver that we can get, honestly. So it's going to be hard for me to narrow down to the I would say 6 receivers that we might keep. I possibly would say 7, but I'm going to go with 6, and that 6 would possibly be, we already know the 3, and Terry McLaurin's, of course, he's a lock. Steven Sims is a lock, and I would say AGG's a lock. I was going to go more towards Kelvin Harmon, but like I keep referring to, we know that he's hurt. So Antonio Gandy Golden would be a for sure lock in my opinion. And whether Antonio Gibson goes down as a receiver or a halfback, I'm going to just put him more here for a receiver. But so I would go with Antonio Gibson as the 4th lock, and then maybe Trey Quinn? I don't know. That's actually really tough. Who is going to be the 6 wide receivers? I would go, in my opinion, if I was the one making the cuts and making the roster, I would go Terry, of course, AGG, Steven Sims, and then Antonio Gibson if he's going to be going down as a wide receiver. And then the 5th would possibly be Darvin Kizzy and maybe Cam Sims. And if I feel like I'm missing somebody, I know Isaiah Wright could make the roster. I would put Isaiah Wright over Cam Sims only because we do have an AGG who is also very tall and very slanky and can go up and get it more than a Cam Sims, even though Cam Sims is 6'5 and AGG 6'4. That really doesn't mean anything, but I feel as though since we already have a tall wide receiver, why have multiple? I know a lot of people would say you would have multiple so you could just, shuffle them in and out, but I'm a more fan of having a smaller guy that can go up and get, like a Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin isn't a huge guy, but he's not afraid to go up and get them jump balls like a tall guy on the tall side, like Antonio Gandy Golden or a Cam Sims. So Isaiah Wright could possibly be the 6th receiver. Like I said, we have a lot of young receivers, but we also need more receivers, if that makes sense. We need more veterans. We need probably 1 veteran. That's why you always keep making me see me making these videos about the Antonio Browns or the Josh Gordons of the world, because I feel as though we need 1 veteran to lead the way because we have a bunch of young wide receivers. So let me sit here and narrow it down. It's going to be really tough, but I'm gonna say Terry McLaurin 1, of course, Antonio Gandy Golden 2, I'm gonna say Steven Sims 3, 4 would probably be Antonio Gibson, and 5 would possibly be, oh, that is really tough. I don't know if I want to go Trey Quinn, Darvin Kinsey, or Cam Sims. I'm gonna go Darvin Kinsey, okay? And hear me out. The reason why I say that, I already said it in the beginning, but I really believe that he hasn't been able to give his shot. He wasn't giving his shot like everyone else, so I feel as though that he really should make the roster over anyone else other than the people that I already named. So We have Darvin Kinsey 5, and number 6 could be Isaiah Wright, in my opinion. Isaiah Wright is really good, but he hasn't, he was undrafted, so we didn't have a lot of people didn't have a lot of hopes for him. But if you watch his highlights like I did, you can see why I have him making the roster at number 6. So those 6 wide receivers are my opinion, and I believe that can make the roster. But once again, it could change. It could really change. You could possibly have Trey Quinn balling out this training camp. You can have Antonio Gibson, obviously going to make the roster in my opinion, but you can have Trey Quinn, Cam Sims, Jonathan Johnson. He could really make the roster. So you never know, but that was just my opinion only because of what I know and what I think is going to transpire this upcoming training camp, or this training camp, because they're in day 5 or day 4 of training camp. I can't remember, but they are already having the wheels started. I was in Antonio Gibson's live yesterday, and Thaddeus Moss. They literally said that training camp hasn't really started yet. They haven't really seen all of the guys yet. So I don't think training camp is really going to get underway to probably mid-August, late August in a way. I wouldn't say late August. I'll probably say around August 10th is where they possibly could get the pads on and stuff and start actually training for the upcoming season. Because I think late August would be a little too late, because September is when the season starts. So that's a little off topic, but I wanted to tell you guys that. So once again, we're going to go over the list one more time, and then of course I'm going to get out of here and let you guys give your opinion down below in the comment section. I want to hear what you guys got to say about who do you think is going to make the roster, the wide receiver room in 2020. So once again, we have Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gandy Golden, we have Steven Sims, I have Antonio Gibson making the roster, I have Darvin Kinsey at the 5, and I also have Isaiah Wright at the 6. Like I said, we could possibly keep 7, and them 7 could be Jonathan Johnson, Cam Sims, Trey Quinn. We have a lot of other wide receivers that could possibly make the roster, but those were just my 6, only because 3 of them, maybe 4, it's already proven, and we already know what we can expect out of them. And then for the last 2, which was Isaiah Wright and I think Trey Quinn, they could possibly shock us in a way, because Trey Quinn, I was really over Trey Quinn. I'm gonna be honest, he was the best Mr. Irrelevant I've seen, but he still wasn't that good in my opinion. I think Steven Sims kind of came in and souped his spot up. I strongly believe that Trey Quinn could have found work somewhere else if Kelvin Harmon was still healthy, and we could have possibly moved on from him, because he's had 3 years and he really hasn't proven that why he should be a solidified slot. I mean, we've seen more out of Steven Sims in 1 year than we did Trey Quinn in 3, honestly. So once again, that was my 6 that I think was going to make the roster. We're going to run through it quickly again. Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gandy Golden, Steven Sims, Antonio Gibson, Darvin Kinsey, and Isaiah Wright. Those are my 6 that were making the roster. Like I said, it's just my opinion. It can always change. So let me know what you guys think down below about my list. Do you like it? Do you disagree with it? What would you change, or would you roll with mine? As always, Ben Boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe, hello to the Washington football team. Let me know what you guys think down below about this. Let's talk, man. I really want to talk with you guys. So let's talk about who's going to make the roster in your opinion at the wide receiver position. I'm out. Like, comment, subscribe, hello to the Washington football team. Peace.